black girl nerds. Better shake your booties for black girl nerds.
Thank you, Jeandra LeBeauf, Black Girl Nerd. You guys, I too have fallen victim.
Here we
to
are.
The candles.
Oh no.
Uh-oh, what did you do? Did you kill somebody?
Well, I don't know. There might be some things going on. Well, I thank you, ladies, for your time. I really enjoyed this. It brought to mind 3 movies that I've really loved in my life: Devil Wears Prada, of course, Single White Female, and Fatal Attraction. Those are 3 movies that I absolutely love, in addition to the newness of what you both brought to it. Beginning with you, Diane, there's so much we see here with unpacking the strength of a woman versus the vulnerability of a woman. When you first read the part, what was appealing about it to you and that made you say, yes, this is a project that I definitely want to be involved with?
Well, exactly what you just said, you know, like I was attracted to a woman who worked really hard, did some pretty tough things to get where she finally is, you know, and I think that's very relatable. And, you know, as women in 2022, we want it all, right? And we push other things as far away as we possibly can until it's almost too late and we either miss it or we get lucky. And it's just, I felt very, you know, in a way that's, sorry, I'm rambling, but that kind of happened to me too. Things and pushed back my family life as far as I could until it was almost too late, you know. And so that vulnerability of wanting it all and having still to deal with life and the complexities that women uniquely have in the workplace was so fun. It was great to explore. And she's a terrible leader and a terrible boss. And so I never get to behave that outrageously bad. And that was very fun.
Well, you made a terrible woman. I very much believed you, and I enjoyed it. Kiernan, for Lou, what I found very intriguing about her was her ability to identify weak spots, like water. Like she knows how to find water will find its way out of a crack in something that no one else sees. If you could sum up what that quality is for her, how would you describe what she is to this mix of people? Because she has a superiority of gamemanship that is unbelievable.
That's very thoughtful of you to say. I really appreciate that. I think that she has always had to go the extra mile to get to the place that she wants to be in life. Obviously, we know from the backstory that we're given that she did not have an easy childhood. She did not grow up with anything much, and she also grew up with a lot of trauma. I think a lot that we don't even really know about. So for me, it was the fact that she kind of didn't have a choice but to strengthen her intuition and strengthen sort of every last bit of herself and make sure that every single tool in her kit was sharpened at all times, because she didn't have anyone that was lifting her and she had to lift herself. And I think that within her was probably that gift of being super intuitive and aware. And just over the course of her life, I would think that she strengthened it. And we all know when we really truly want something and are really truly passionate about something, our best abilities kind of like come out and they're easier to harness. And I think because finally we've seen her land in the place that she wants to be, in the place where she can get everything that she ever wants, you know, all of her strengths kind of start coming very naturally to her.
And lastly, because they're going to wrap me, I told Kathleen when I talked to her, I didn't find the sexuality of the show over the top. In fact, it was very interesting because a lot of it was implied. It was more of a sensual and not so soap opera-y to me. Mm-hmm. So show of hands, how awkward, who felt really, really awkward doing some of the scenes? Because there are some good ones and I don't want to spoil any of them.
Oh my God.
So who felt the most awkward?
I mean, I feel like I had like the more untraditional or not. Yeah, I had the more like interesting. Like I didn't have to do like a. There were no basic sex scenes for me. It was all
the
sort of
tastiest one.
I had the evening in Malibu by the pool. The only thing uncomfortable about it was that pool was freezing.
Yes,
That pool was really, really cold, and that was kind of where my discomfort ended. I think everything else, like, you know, Kathleen's great, and Diane and Tucker, like everyone was so nice that it was just kind of felt like part of the job. I had fun doing it. No awkwardness.
I have fun watching you guys. Well, here
Thank you
I
so
hope we get
much.
season 2. If there is, I hope Sharon Stone would be a good like little guest to pop in.
Oh my God, right?
That would be super hot. I would love it. But I loved you, ladies. You did a wonderful job, and thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Kathleen, I wore my tribute outfit, you know, with the slick back hair and the white. I had to because I was so into this.
I love it.
Let me start by saying that I too have fallen victim to the candles in the media box as well.
Oh my God, you're so funny. So funny. I love it.
I really enjoyed this. It brought to mind 3 movies that I've loved over the years: Devil Wears Prada, Single White Female, and Fatal Attraction. I've loved elements of all of those movies, and I particularly love this and the strength of women and the vulnerability of women and how those two juxtapose. Why is that a sweet spot of storytelling? If that was my interpretation, please correct me if I'm wrong, but why is that a sweet spot of storytelling for you and to create a series like this?
Oh, it's a great observation for first off. And yeah, that's absolutely kind of what I was going for, you know. I mean, I think weirdly, like if you want to, you know, look at sort of the imagery of even the poster, the opening title sequence, like the bougainvillea, the pink flower that grows, like symbolically, like what that represents is exactly what you just said, which is, you know, it's beautiful, but it's really a weed, and it can grow through concrete, and it hangs over the freeway, and it's beautiful on the surface, but it's actually super dangerous to touch, and it has thorns, and it can, you know, bleed you when you try to touch it or remove it. And it's really sort of thematically what the show's about. You know, we all sort of, especially for Joyce, Diane Kruger's character, I mean, she presents as being rock hard and super tough and impenetrable, but beneath it, she's really broken and really vulnerable and really raw. And I think that for me, that was kind of the interesting thing about it. Like the original film was very much just hardcore, and it was a man taking another man down, and that wasn't of interest to me. And I didn't have any interest in telling a story about a woman trying to take another woman down. If anything, I was just like, no, I want to just show the complexity of why we all do the things we do, and why, you know, I mean, it's really hard for everyone, but it's particularly hard for women, especially in this industry, to sort of be successful and be really, you know, have a true identity, and then also be a mom, be, you know, all these other things. There's a lot to unpack for sure.
Mm-hmm. I particularly enjoyed all of the casting of the show. You have a marvelous cast with Diane and Kiernan, Donald Sutherland, Eric Alexander is a favorite of mine. How did you assemble this magnificent crew? How did they even come to be involved? What did they tell you personally of what appealed about the story to them that they made them want to participate? Because I'm sure they had their own reactions to it.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was a definite dream for me when we got to the casting process, and the people that I sort of envisioned and wanted all said yes. I was just like, oh my gosh, it was such a huge validation. You know, I've been an actor my whole life. I started acting when I was 10. So I think that if anything, that's my strength. You know, I know how to write for actors. I know what actors want, and I know what actors don't want, you know, and I certainly, that's always my number one focus, is creating interesting roles for actors, even if it's a small role. Like, how do I make this kind of more interesting and more unexpected than maybe what we've seen before? And how do I sort of, you know, go deeper than maybe what traditionally would be done or seen. So I think they all just responded to that. I mean, that was kind of what they all just were like, oh, I love the specificity of your voice. You know, I love the specificity of how weird the scene was. It could have just been this, but it went there, you know?
Mm-hmm. I too enjoyed that as well. Lastly, in addition to examining that juxtaposition, there is the sensuality of it is very, very intriguing. It's not over the top. It's very, a lot of it is very much implied. What do you think is the fine line between portraying sex and sensuality on screen? Because I like how you wrote that line for the series.
Well, it's funny. I'm glad that you think it wasn't too over the top, because I certainly feel like sometimes I watch it, I'm like, oh my God, what was I thinking? It's so extreme. But I think, yeah, I mean, I think that again, like I just wanted to be unapologetic about the sexuality. I think as women, we're sexual, and you know, it doesn't always have to come from a place of motivation. Like sometimes things are just what they are. And I wanted the sexuality to be powerful and unapologetic and just kind of matter of fact. And so, yeah, I really, you know, I tried not to overthink it as well, because I certainly didn't want to be in a situation where I was editing myself and not going there sexually because I thought it might be judged as being too extreme. I just was like, no, it just feels authentic to me. So this is what I'm writing.
I was into it. I was feeling like a voyeur. It wasn't like so soap opera-y, like,
right.
You know, and just super soap opera. It was really cool. And really, you know, gave me that voyeur kind of feeling. Well, I thank you, Kathleen, for your talent, your time. This was a really cool series, and it was a pleasure talking to you.
I'm glad you liked it. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.
Better shake your booties for black girl nerds. Better shake your booties for black girl nerds.